Hi, I'm Betty, and I'm here with Ayuba, and we're going to talk about OneNote.
Yep.
So Ayuba, tell me about OneNote.
Great. OneNote is the place we think is the best for taking digital notes. We think of that as the extension of your memory. It's a place where we see people having their thoughts captured quickly so that they can remember them later. Those precious moments where they'd be the recipe from their grandma, that quick note you want to take down for something to do later, or you're in a meeting, things like that. We think OneNote's the best place for structured notes.
Okay, so and what can you do with the API?
Okay. So when we think about the API, one of the things to remember for us is that the fundamental building blocks for any note-taking experience for us starts with the notebook, gets into a section, and finally ends on the pages where you actually have the content. And so for us, we took those same building blocks and actually represented them in Microsoft Graph. And so that means you can say, hey, I want to get my notebooks, take a look at them, create them, update them, so on and so forth. Similarly for sections, create them, update them, and similar for pages. And obviously on pages is where all the content lives. So that includes not just creating the page, but actually adding media to the page. So everything from an image to text to a file, so on and so forth.
Okay, that's really interesting. So now can we see it?
Yeah, sure. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing we're going to do here, obviously we've talked about notebooks being the foundation, sections, and pages. So let's jump in. So the first thing we can do here is take a look and see, hey, does Megan even have any notebooks? Let's just take a real quick look. As you can see here, the response comes through. You can see a little bit of, hey, here's where the section is. Here's when it last was modified. You can also see here it says, OneNote client URL in addition to like OneNote web URL. So this is if you wanted to open it on a rich client on your desktop for a nice native experience, or if you wanted to open it on the web and have a quick viewing experience, right? And so we can get the notebooks, we can get the sections, we can get the pages. Now let's move on and actually create some of this content. So we'll have it over to create notebook here. So you can see, thank you Graph Explorer, it's already pre-populated some of the content. And then now let's set a name for this. Okay, and so just with a simple name, I'm gonna issue that query. We'll give it a sec, it's thinking. And there you have it. Megan has a new notebook. It's called I Love Graph Explorer, right there you can see. And in addition, we've also been given both, again, client URL for the native client and the web. So to keep it simple, I'll just go ahead and grab this web URL so we can actually pull up the notebook and see what it looks like. Just give that a sec to load there. And as we can see, it's a brand new notebook. So obviously no sections, no pages, but obviously we have a notebook for Megan to start taking notes. And obviously you'd probably want to populate this, right? And so now let's move on to the next part of this fun. We'll come over here, and as you can see, there's an ID for this notebook. I'm going to grab that, copy that, and then I'm going to go into the create section now. And so you see now there are two things here. One of which I need to supply is what do I want the display name to be, and the other is what notebook ID. So what section should we put this notebook in? And so I'm going to go ahead and replace this real quick. Oops, let focus jumping around there. So my ID is now in place, and I also want to give my section a name. So let's call it new section for Graph. Can't get enough of Graph Explorer. So we'll run that again. And so now I'm saying, hey, that notebook I've just created, here's the ID. I want you to make me a section in there called new section from Graph Explorer. And so we see it status code created to 1. We see some fun information here, but we can skip over that and we'll just go right to the notebook. I'm gonna hit refresh. We'll just give that a few moments to load. And at this point when it loads up, I would expect to see a section there created for me from Graph Explorer. And so there you have it, you see? So now we've created the notebook, was the first thing we did. I have a new section, and so we're almost there on the way. And so the last piece then is, now that we have this section, the thing then I want to do is I want to go make a page so I can actually start taking notes in there. And so to do that, I'm going to sneak in here again. The thing I'm going to do this time is before we pull the notebooks, I could create the section. Now I need to pull all my sections so I can put a page in them. So I just ran a quick query for that. And then obviously we're looking for the one that says Graph Explorer. So I'm just scrolling through here. There we go. We see right here it says new section from Graph Explorer. I'm going to grab that ID for that section, copy that. I'm going to head over to our last action of the day, which is creating a page. Again, as you can imagine, I need a section ID, so I'm going to replace that. But the other thing I'm also going to need for this is what content I actually want to put on the page. Obviously, OneNote's about taking notes, so I want to put some notes in there. So I'll sneak over to OneNote real quick. Obviously, we've already created a notebook, created a section. We're on to creating a page. To keep things simple, I already have some sample content here. And the content really in OneNote is, it's rich content, so that's why some HTML is going to go in there. So I'm going to sneak back to Graph Explorer. Not there. That's definitely not what we want. Definitely in there. So again, I've populated section ID, so we know where to put that through Microsoft Graph. I've also given some content that I want put on the page. And so now I'll go here and run this query. Give that a few moments. And so again, we see, hey, 201. Page been created and the content's been put in. Just quickly look through here. I expect the title of the page to say, hey there, a new page from Graph Explorer. And so we'll go up here and again, we'll refresh. Give that a few moments to load. And there you have it. I have the page, got a section and a notebook all through Graph Explorer. And obviously, we expect people can build more and more integrations like this. Anything where you think in Teams, for example, when you're trying to capture meeting notes, we have a little picker in there that actually pulls all the notebooks, allows you to navigate through your sections, and eventually find the right page for your meeting notes. And you can imagine so many other integrations partners can go build like this.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, so there you have it.
That was really interesting. So if you want to have these and more, head over to graph.microsoft.com.